The war between Earth and the Cathari Dominion had lasted for 7 long years. Across the galaxy, fleets clashed and worlds burned, but one silent outpost on the moon of Tureen held something far rarer than peace. It held her. Princess Lyra of Cathar, the last daughter of a vanquished house, a political prisoner under the protection of a single human officer, Commander Ethan Vale. Ethan was not chosen for compassion. He was chosen for discipline. Known for never breaking protocol, for treating friend and enemy alike with calm distance, he was the perfect warden for the most delicate captive in the war. His orders were simple. Keep her alive, keep her safe, and keep her contained. Yet from the first day, Lyra tested him. She was nothing like the propaganda. The reports described her as a manipulator, cold and ruthless, but the woman before him was fierce and graceful, a creature with eyes like molten silver and hair that shimmered faintly under the sterile lights of the base. Her voice carried both pride and loneliness. "You guard me as though I'm dangerous," she said one evening, watching him through the glass. "You are," Ethan replied without turning. "Then you're brave, human, or foolish." He didn't answer. He never did. She took that silence as a challenge. Over weeks, the tension grew, not of hostility, but of something subtler. She began to speak more, to question Earth's motives, to mock his loyalty, to laugh at his restraint. She would step closer each day, studying him as though measuring the limits of his control. One night, when the storms of Tureen howled outside the outpost, she asked, "Do you ever wonder why they keep me alive?" Ethan glanced at her, the faint hum of the shield between them vibrating in the air. "You're valuable. A bargaining chip." "Wrong," she said softly. "They keep me because they fear what killing me would do to your conscience. You humans like to believe you're better." Her words cut deeper than she knew. He turned away, hiding the flicker of emotion. But her insight was not wrong. In her gaze, he saw not an enemy, but someone imprisoned by politics, by fate, just as he was, bound by orders. Days turned to months. The war slowed. Rumors came of peace talks, of treaties, of the Cathari surrendering. Lyra began to lose her defiance. She sat quietly by the observation window, staring at the stars. One night, alarms broke the silence. A rebel Cathari strike team breached the outpost. Ethan fought through smoke and chaos, finding her chamber torn open. The rebels had come for her. "Go with them," he said, blood on his arm, pulse hammering. "They're your people." Lyra hesitated. "And leave you to die? That's my duty." She looked at him, truly looked, and something changed. Her gaze softened, and for the first time, the wall of pride cracked. "You think duty is more sacred than life? I think duty is what keeps life worth living." Before he could move, she stepped forward, pressing her hand against his chest. "Then your duty is done, Commander. You've proven yourself." But instead of fleeing, she turned her weapon on the rebels. The fight was swift and brutal. When it ended, the outpost was a wreck of burning metal. Lyra stood over the fallen invaders, breath trembling. "They wanted me free," she said. "But freedom without choice is another kind of cage." Ethan slumped against the wall, clutching his wound. "You didn't have to stay." Her eyes shimmered, not with tears, but something older, heavier. "You're the first being who treated me as more than a crown." He tried to smile, failing halfway. "You tested me from the start." "And you passed," she whispered. 4 days, they waited for extraction. Power was failing, supplies dwindling. The heat of the emergency lamps cast strange warmth across her skin. At night, they talked, of her world's oceans of glass, of Earth's blue skies she had never seen. Bound by isolation and fear, the distance between them dissolved. When peace was finally declared, a shuttle arrived to take her away, back to her empire, now under human supervision. Ethan's orders were clear: deliver her, then return to Earth. At the ramp, she paused. You could come with me, she said. They'd call you a hero. I'm not one, he said. I just did my job. She stepped closer, voice soft as static. And if I asked not as a princess, but as a woman? He looked at her, the faint scars on her wrist, the fire in her eyes, the calm she hid behind royal pride. Every instinct screamed to follow, to take the hand she offered. But duty still echoed louder. I can't, he said. I serve. Her lips curved, a bittersweet smile. Then serve well, Commander Vale. She boarded the ship, and for a moment, he thought that was the end. But weeks later, when he was reassigned to the orbital fleet, a message came through the encrypted channel. Only one line. You chose duty. I chose you. He didn't answer. He couldn't. But at night, he found himself staring at the stars beyond the viewport, at the faint glimmer of Cthulhu's twin suns, and wondering if she still remembered the man who refused to abandon her. Months passed. The fragile peace between their worlds began to crumble. New factions rose. And one night, the alarm klaxons blared again. Incoming vessel, unauthorized entry. When Ethan reached the docking bay, he froze. A single craft, bearing Cthulhu markings, descended through the hangar field. The ramp lowered, and she stepped out. No crown. No guards. No armor. Just her. I told them I'd come for negotiations, she said softly. But I came for you. He took a step forward. You shouldn't be here. I shouldn't have stayed that night either, she said, closing the distance. But I did. And I'm still alive. Her gaze met his, no longer defiant, no longer mocking. Just open. Tell me, Commander, she whispered, do you still believe duty is stronger than desire? He wanted to speak, to summon the old discipline, but words died in his throat. Instead, he reached for her hand. The air between them trembled with unspoken confession. Then let me test you one last time, she said, and before he could answer, she leaned in and kissed him. The world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. But in that instant, the war, the orders, the years of restraint, all dissolved into silence. Later, as the ship drifted among the stars, she lay beside him, tracing the scars on his chest. They'll call you a traitor for this. Maybe, he said, but for once, I chose something for myself. And I surrendered, she murmured, resting her head against him. Not to chains, not to war, but to the one who refused to leave me behind. Outside, the stars burned quietly, neither Earth's nor Cthulhu's, but belonging to both. Two worlds once divided, now united in the choice of two souls who finally stopped fighting themselves. And for the first time in years, Commander Ethan Vale, the man who lived for duty, allowed himself to breathe, not as a soldier, not as a warden, but as a human who had finally been seen.